QE will save the economy. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. I have my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd have a look at this article from the ABC discussing the RBA's approach to money printing, QE, and how it's supposed to save the economy. Forgive me if I'm being skeptical. So let's have a look at this. The illness chaos has hit the economy, and the RBA's approach to money printing is supposed to save it. Because it's going to be different this time, guys. It'll be different. I'm sure it will be. It'll have to work this time because Australia's different. Australia's different, everyone. We've got plastic money. That's it. Historically, they were always just churning out paper money. We have magic plastic money. That's what it is. See, and look, it even looks like gold because it's yellow. Earlier this week, I wrote about the Reserve Bank's decision to start printing money. Did the author? I'll have to look into it. Yes, Australia's central bank is now plugging in extra digits on its computer trading screens to artificially pump up how much cash it has on its balance sheet. It's creating money out of thin air. It doesn't need to print the money via the mint. Well, there you go. What value does something have that's created out of thin air? The only value of it is in the confidence that people have that it will still hold its value and you'll be able to trade it for useful things. How long will that last? It's doing this. So, and is it even morally, is it even ethically, is it even moral to do that? Lord help us if the RBA or even the Federal Reserve in the US start imitating Japan and buy assets, start buying shares in businesses or intervening in the market, literally buying up people's, well, hopefully assets of value with thin air. Because it really worked well in Japan, didn't it? It's doing this so it can dive into the bond market and buy up as many government bonds as it so chooses. The idea being that the more bonds it buys up, the lower interest rates go, and the easier it is for people to repay their mortgages, for businesses to pay off their loans, and for the government to afford its JobKeeper payments. Once the piece was published, though, I received a flood of emails, texts, and calls with follow-up questions. Why? Well, because this stuff is not easy to wrap your head around. I mean, what are bonds in the first place? Who owns what? Why can't the Reserve Bank just write off debt? So here are some answers to the most common questions. So what are bonds? Bonds, they are IOUs. If you earn money, you have the capacity to borrow money and pay it back at some point with interest. The government can borrow huge amounts of money because it has a big capacity to pay it back, because it's got millions of serfs giving it money every day under duress. So this is the thing. The RBA creates money out of thin air, then uses it to buy bonds, and that's future money that taxpayers, future generations will have to pay, will be responsible for. There you go. So it issues its own bonds with a world-class credit rating attached, which has actually taken a hit recently. So is there a limit to how much money the RBA can create? Theoretically, there are no limits to how much the RBA can increase the size of its cash reserves by creating money out of thin air or the tap of a keyboard. The Reserve Bank will create as much money as it believes is necessary to stabilize the monetary system and to ensure the government, households, and businesses can borrow with relative ease. Here's the thing. They're providing, additional funding for banks and methods to allow them to fund more loans to small, medium enterprises. Who the hell in their right mind would borrow now when we've got a complete lockdown economy, when job advertisements are plunging? Who would borrow now in business to invest in business? How much of that borrowing you think will just be thrown back at the market, people taking their luck? And remember, this is an intervention into the market, everyone. This isn't capitalism. This isn't a free market. This is a central authority artificially intervening into the market. To ensure the credibility of the RBA itself, though, and the integrity of the monetary system as a whole, the Reserve Bank will only print money and buy bonds to assist with sound economic policy. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Even in its latest monetary policy statement, it made it clear the bank was already working on a money printing exit strategy. So who cares? Of course they have a strategy in place for that. That doesn't mean they'll ever implement it. What about the US now? QE4, it's to infinity. And the thing is, it's moving the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's a overly convoluted and complex system. It really is. It is going to lead to inflation, reduced purchasing power for the average pleb, for the average citizen. We're going to suffer. The bank has bought around $36 billion of government bonds in secondary markets, including bonds issued by the states and territories, the RBA Governor Philip Lowe noted. The bank will continue to promote the smooth functioning of these important markets. If conditions continue to improve, though, it is likely that small and less frequent purchases of government bonds will be required. Well, will they improve? I just did a video recently about iron ore prices predicted to go down 25%. Some are even predicting that it'll hit $50. That'll have an impact on our economy. The demand for coking coal is also predicted to go down. That'll have an impact on our economy. Tourism, gone. Construction crane numbers, down. Job advertisements, plunging. Conditions are improving. How? What am I not seeing? Let me know. Maybe, does it mean we can get more toilet paper in the shops now? Or people aren't going to get fined for playing computer games in their living room? Is that how conditions are improving? So how long can it occur? This will be a good one. There is no hard and fast rules around how long quantitative easing or money printing should last. In the United States, it lasted years during and after the GFC. In Japan, it lasted over a decade. It could go on indefinitely, AMP's capital head of investment strategy, Shane Oliver, told the ABC. And this is why people are investing in things which can't be created out of thin air to nothing. So doesn't money printing lead to hyperinflation? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Hyperinflation is when prices for everyday items spiral out of control. It's been known to happen when money printing is involved. Well, we have seen there has been inflation in the US market. Look at the share market bubble after the GFC. Look at the unicorn businesses that had never made a cent. The valuation some of them have. That's where it all went. That's where it all went. Economists say it's unlikely to happen this time around in Australia because inflation was already very low to begin with. The downside to QE is that it could cause inflation, AMP's Capital's chief economist Shane Oliver said. It's made possible now because inflation is low. Well, don't they want to increase inflation? Isn't that the goal of the RBA? They want to steadily chip away at the value of your savings to manipulate you in ordering to spend, to buy crap you don't need. And in addition to this, the GFC left the global economy with a legacy of relatively high underemployment, the gig economy, and very weak wage growth. GFC left a lot of spare capacity in the labour markets, Dr. Oliver said. So basically, all of this points to the fact that in this economic climate, strong inflation is hard to come by. So even a $36 billion money printing program by the RBA is unlikely to change that. So doesn't it have to be paid back at some point? And here we go. This is where we're starting to see more and more normalization of modern monetary theory. And I just think it's, just a redressed and overly convoluted, previously tested ideas. So this is a hugely important question, and the answer is yes. First, let's look at why the RBA is buying bonds directly from the government. By far and away, no, so they're not quite delving into MMT. I've got another article where the media's doing that. By far and away, the most frequently asked question was, why can't the Reserve Bank just buy the bonds directly from the government? If the Reserve Bank did this, it will be directly providing the government with money. It's plucked out of thin air, which the government can then spend or give to households. The most famous economist, Milton Friedman, came up with this idea in 1969. To illustrate it, he described a helicopter dropping money into people's backyards. It was a joke. It was a joke, guys. He was kidding. But the RBA and government are doing this, I hear you say. Well, sort of. The government issues bonds, banks buy those bonds, and the Reserve Bank buys those same bonds off the bank. So for practical purposes, the RBA now owns the bonds and will receive coupon payments from the government. And you could draw a line from the RBA to the government in terms of money flow. The government then uses that money to pay for JobKeeper payments and the like. Money directly into workers' pockets. And then it'll take it all out over the years and years that are required to pay back these bonds. That sounds an awful like helicopter money. It's more convoluted than helicopter money, isn't it? However, by putting the private sector between the government and the Reserve Bank, you create a crucial buffer. It means the Reserve Bank can't simply write off the debt, which would compromise the integrity of the entire monetary system. It's not even tempted to do that. In addition, by ensuring the bonds make it into the private financial markets, the Reserve Bank can influence interest rates across the board, because changes in the 3-year bond yield have a knack of influencing other interest rates. Leading economists are concerned it's helicopter money by a different name. It is technically, concedes Dr. Oliver, it's a fine line. Well, yeah. EY Oceanics chief economist Joe Masters agrees. It's quite a fine line. If you get a central bank buying bonds directly from the government, you blur the lines of independence. By having the Reserve Bank buy bonds in the secondary market, it adds another step in the process that keeps the elected government focused on fiscal policy, Ms. Masters argue. And here he's showing a formula for how buying bonds will help the economy. But here's just one consideration with that. There's a whole lot of variables that aren't accounted in this modeling system. This is the thing why the Austrians don't tend to make predictions or model similarly to the Keynesians. It's because the economy is an emergent complex system. You'll never have enough data or all the variables to understand and accurately predict the implementations that you do or the interventions you do. So this is one step away from MMT, and we'll have a look at that in another episode. But what do you think, guys? Do you think people will buy this? Or do you think we're at the first step along the road? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or on Patreon for a small monthly fee. You can support the channel via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay for your consumer purchases. Or you can purchase our merch from HeiseSays or from Teespring. We have referral links to Independent Reserve and Kucoin for the crypto traders, PayPal for those of you that want to contribute that way, and Gold Pass if you want to send us gold from Perth Mint. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.